Aprilia are leading MotoGP right now. They have won 5 consecutive races. They sit at the top of the standings, and every other manufacturer is scrambling to understand what Noal has built. On paper, this is the best moment in Aprilia's modern history. And yet, as of this week, Aprilia are the only team in the entire paddock that has not put their 2027 prototype on track. Not once. Not even a shakedown. KTM ran theirs in December. Honda ran theirs in January. Yamaha followed. And now Ducati has completed their first 850 cubic centimetre test at Misano. Aprilia hasn't moved. So what is actually happening inside Noale? And is the team winning 2026 quietly losing the race that matters far more? Let's be honest about what the 2027 regulations represent. This is not a minor update. MotoGP is wiping the board. Engines drop from 1,000 cubic centimetres to 850 cubic centimetres. Ride height devices are banned. Aerodynamics are cut back. And the tyres switch from Michelin to Pirelli, a change Rivola himself called the single biggest unknown in the project. Every advantage Aprilia has built gets reset. The 2027 grid is not a continuation of this one. It is a completely different championship, and the team that controls it will be decided by who tests first and who understands the new Pirelli rubber before anyone else does. KTM had their 850 cubic centimetre machine running at Jerez in December. Honda ran 2 tests in Malaysia by January. Yamaha followed shortly after, and this week, Ducati completed a shakedown at Misano. Michel Pirro, no ride height devices, reduced aerodynamics, Pirelli tyres. Ducati are not leading the 2026 standings. They are chasing Aprilia, but they have already put their next era bike on track, already started learning how it behaves, already begun feeding real data back into the factory. I'd ask you to think about what that means. 4 manufacturers are collecting live data on a future Aprilia hasn't touched. How does the championship leader end up last? But the story doesn't end there. At the Aprilia team launch in January, Massimo Rivola sounded comfortable. He told the press, "I see no reason why our 2027 bike shouldn't be very competitive." Technical director Fabiano Sterlachini backed him up. The engine was running on the bench. The plan was to finish the 2026 push by April, then redirect the factory toward the 850 cubic centimetres project. The prototype was built, the crossover date was set, but everything that looked controlled was about to get complicated. And then Aprilia kept winning, and April came and went, and the crossover date quietly disappeared. That sequence is not normal, and I don't think Rivola pretends it is either, because here is what he said at Austin, mid-championship, mid-winning streak. Not in a prepared statement, but in a live interview after Bezzecchi had just won again. He said, "Clearly, we have to push with the 850 in case we start a bit later than our competitors." Let's sit with that for a second. The CEO of the team leading MotoGP just acknowledged mid-season that they might start later than every rival on the most consequential development program in years. But that is not spin. That is an admission dressed up as optimism. And this is where it changes. Because there is a version of this story where Aprilia's delay is understandable. They are winning. They have a title to fight for. Pulling resources from a competitive campaign to feed a prototype program makes no sense when the championship is genuinely within reach. That logic makes sense, until you look at the timeline. But understanding the logic does not make the consequences disappear. Every week Aprilia delays is a week KTM, Honda, Yamaha and Ducati are running laps on next-generation tyres, learning brake behaviour without ride height devices, building institutional knowledge that cannot be shortcut later, data compounds, tyre understanding compounds, and Aprilia's rivals are compounding right now. This is not a delay. This is lost time, and lost time is the one thing you do not get back in a regulation reset. Let's not forget what Ducati's shakedown this week actually signals. Ducati did not run their 850 cubic centimetre prototype in ideal conditions. They ran it stripped, no ride height systems, cutback aero, which means they were deliberately simulating the 2027 regulatory environment from lap 1. They weren't just checking if the bike worked, they were already building the muscle memory for a completely different style of racing. Ducati, the team that built its dominance on ride height mastery and aerodynamic complexity, is already practicing how to race without those tools. Aprilia, the team that has been the loudest critic of ride height devices for years, hasn't run a single lap yet. I don't think that irony is lost on anyone in the paddock. The team that built the current era is already preparing the next one. The team leading it hasn't started. This is where the problem starts. And oh yeah, there is one more part of this. When Sterlachini was asked about Aprilia's 2027 readiness, he said the team believes it can handle the confusion, the mess. His words, the technical director of the championship leader, described the next era as a mess they plan to navigate on speed and instinct. And that argument has real merit. Noel's lean structure has outpunched bigger factories before, but here is what reactivity is not. It is not lap data. It is not Pirelli tyre knowledge built over months of testing. Confidence in your own speed is a very different thing from actually being ready. So let's look at what this pattern actually reveals. And let's not pretend the conclusion is comfortable. People looked at Aprilia's 2026 form and assumed the momentum would carry. That winning now means winning later, but the 2027 regulation reset does not reward current pace. It rewards preparation time, prototype mileage, and tyre knowledge. And on all three, Aprilia are last. The team leading the present championship is the most exposed heading into the next era. This was never really about whether Aprilia could build a competitive 850 cubic centimetre machine. The question is whether the delay is already long enough that even Noel's reactivity cannot close it. And I'm not sure anyone there can honestly answer that right now. Make no mistake, Rivola and Sterlachini are not asleep. The engine is built, the prototype exists, and the Jerez test will happen. But when it does, KTM will have had 5 months of additional data. Honda the same. Ducati will be refining, not starting. I don't think Aprilia walk into Jerez and close that gap immediately. They walk in behind, and then have to catch up while running a live title fight on a completely different machine. At the end of the day, that is the paradox Noel is living right now. The stronger they perform in 2026, the longer they stay on a bike that will be obsolete in 7 months. And the further behind, they fall on the only project that decides whether this team is still at the front when 2027 arrives. Aprilia are not preparing for 2027. They are reacting to it. And in a regulation reset this complete, that is a very dangerous place to be. And if they are wrong about their own speed, they won't know it until it's already too late to fix. Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.